Alright, so we're back at it. Back out here now with Trail X. We're going to do the Scaletra March Tri-Fecta Challenge again, this time with Trail X. Taking through the water here, keep things interesting. Oh yeah, that was a good one. Nice. Alright, so we shouldn't have to worry about shadows, at least for a while. Doesn't look like the sun's coming out anytime soon. It's a little chilly, but not terrible. I do have a spare battery this time. Probably won't need it for Trail X, for the honey badger here, but if we do, we've got it. I think we'll probably take very similar, if not the same path as we did with Sport for this challenge. Thought about taking a little bit of a different path, but I think that my elevation, the elevation is key on this one. You have to do, I don't remember, 30 meters or something of elevation change, and the other path that I was considering doesn't have near as much elevation change. It may have enough. I don't know for sure that it doesn't, but I'm not sure that it does. So that's why we're doing this one, because I'm sure this one does. We just did it with Sport. We know that when we drop off the big hill and come back, we actually more than double the requirement for elevation change. So playing it safe, and we're just going to kind of take the same, basically the same trail. We might vary it up a little bit, but it'll essentially be the same path that we took with Sport. We may do one thing a little different. I think we may swing down in front of the targets again and take a few pot shots at the targets. That's always kind of fun. Later on this weekend, I may come back over here and try to cut a path for side-by-sides to get to a little area where we do some crawling. Make it a little easier to just drive over there so we can do some crawling without trailing our way over there. But we'll see. I got to get the kid motivated to come help me if we do that, because I am gonna need a little bit of labor help with that. Just moving trees, because we'll have to cut some trees down, small ones, and so we'll see if I can get him motivated to come over here and give me a hand. We might do that this weekend. But lots of deer on the trail cameras, lots and lots of deer on the trail cameras, and no horns on their heads anymore. So they have definitely all dropped their antlers, as far as I can tell. So we're always kind of on the lookout for a shed antler if we can find one. So that may be where we divert a little bit from the path that Sport took, so we can cover a little bit of new ground and see if we can't scrounge up a shed antler or two. I'm not going to take these guys through like their bedding areas and stuff like that. I think that's a little more disturbance than I probably want to cause in the bedding areas. So when I really go to look for sheds in those areas, I probably won't take these guys. So You guys probably won't see those, but maybe I'll post them or something, post pictures in case you're interested in the shed antlers. But I didn't have a ton of really big bucks this year, so I don't anticipate finding, you know, any really impressive sheds. Mostly kind of small 8s. 110 that was pretty decent, but I have yet to find the big bucks sheds on this place, and I've had several years with decent bucks, and I have never really been able to find their sheds. So I don't know where they're hiding out yet. Maybe someday I'll find it and be able to sneak in and snag some of the big sheds, but I don't know, we'll see. But this is kind of an area here, so there's coyote scat like we always find, right? Several piles there. So this is obviously going to be a good trap location next season. Definitely need to come over here. I have not set traps over here in this particular area in a couple of years. Always trap this land, always make good catches over here, but I kind of vary the individual places where I actually set the traps. So it looks like this side of this upper field is definitely a candidate next season for some traps, because definitely got some activity over here. And this looks gnarly and muddy. Oh, it's way more solid than I thought it was going to be. So we're just going to kind of tool down through. I'm looking as we walk here. Going to tool down through kind of the middle of some of these cedar thicket areas that we don't normally go through, just in case. Oh. Wow. I always forget how much his axles hang out. He gets hung up with his axles hanging out in the back there. They get hooked around saplings and stuff, which is not the most fun. Oh, that thorn got into me. That thorn got in there deep. Drew blood and everything. So we can, you know what? Let's stay on this lower road. I know they get hard to see down here because the grass gets so tall, but I haven't walked this since we've officially fully lost all our antlers, so it might be worth tooling down through here to see if we can find us a shed. Honey badger's not honey badgering today. He's getting stymied. He's getting held up by some of this stuff here. Look at this. That's not impressing me the way you had been, honey badger. We might have to take that name away from you if you keep this up, man. You should be just bulldogging your way through all this stuff. That's what you used to do. Maybe I'm not hitting it with enough oomph, with enough gusto. I am going pretty slow. Maybe that's part of it. But yeah, this stuff didn't even slow him down the last time we had him out. I made no changes, so there's nothing different about honey badger than the way he was configured the last time you saw him. So just slowly walking and looking up into all these little trails that come out of these thickets. Those are always a good place to find sheds, especially when you got a tight couple cedar trees that they got to walk between. It's a good place for them to kind of knock those antlers loose when they get real loose, ready to drop. So that's kind of why we're going so slow, if you're wondering. I see Crawler Canyon, and he has rigs that he can just kind of set on cruise, and they go and they kind of follow the natural lay of the land. Man, that is not the case with mine at all. And I don't know if I'm doing something wrong or what, but these guys wander constantly. It's constant steering input. Just a little correction to the left, correction to the right, you know, like non-stop. Absolutely constant. So he tends to wander to the right, and I've set the endpoints, and on flat ground, you know, in the brief little testing that I do in my little area in the basement, he tracks pretty straight. But when you get him out here, man, he is constantly pulling to the right. So I don't know. Maybe I need to adjust the trim a little more or something. I wore a jacket. Like I said, it's chilly out here. I wore a jacket. I'm starting to regret it now. I think maybe I should have left the jacket, just kept the sweatshirt that I'm wearing, left the jacket in the side-by-side, but so there may be a pause to shed a jacket and roll it up and shove it in the pack here. Not just yet, but I think before we climb this hill, coming back up here, that's definitely on the agenda, I would say. The Trail X is not getting any quieter. He did have, I guess I did grease his transmission since the last time you saw him, but it didn't help with the noise level at all. It seems to be just as noisy as he's ever been. So I think it's just, I don't know, the nature of the beast, I guess, with these NES transmissions. I mean, it works great, don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining, but it's just got a kind of a high-pitched whine that doesn't seem to go away. And I thought, you know, I mean, this should be 5 miles today. He's at 3 something or 2 something. But I mean, we're going to be real close, if not over the 5 mile mark on him by the end of this challenge. And I mean, if this thing was going to quiet down and kind of wear in, and you know, the gears were going to get to know each other and, you know, become a little friendlier, you would think that would have happened by now. I would think in the first mile, you know, if you just take one out and drive it for a solid mile, I think most of your getting to know each other should be accomplished in that first mile. So when you get to the 5 mile mark, I mean, if they're still noisy, I think they're going to remain noisy until they, you know, maybe finally break or something, and you have to replace stuff. But yeah, I don't think he's getting any quieter. He is what he is, I guess. So, which is fine. But he's definitely no stealthy guy. he lets you know he's coming from a ways off. So yeah, even going down the hill, I think the jacket needs to come off actually. So we're gonna get down here pretty shortly to the shooting range area, one of them, and I think once we get there, maybe we'll do a little shooting, get the jacket situation corrected, and we'll continue on from there. The creek should have gone down. Haven't had any rain. Crossing over the river on the way here, the river looks a little bit lower. Not significantly, but a little bit. I think enough that the creek has probably dropped. The level of the creek has probably dropped quite a bit. So we should be able to get across the creek. We don't need to for this challenge. I don't want to run myself close to the time limit, but I don't think I will. I think the time limit's like 3 hours. So, but we'll see. We might cross the creek, go up the hill on the other side. Just kind of look around that food plot that's over there. See if we can find any sheds over there. And then we can come right back down here. Go up that hill that we just descended, and that will give us our elevation. We'll definitely have our time and or definitely have our distance, and should be well under time still. So I think we'll be good. So we shot from pretty close up that last time. Let's see if we can hit him from back here, which is a little further. We're probably 15 yards is my guess. All right, we got one in the chamber. And that's a magazine. All right. Well, that was a magazine worth of shooting. We got all of our hits, so pretty happy with that. The suppressor's not even warm, so only got 2 mags. I should probably throw a box of ammo into this backpack that I carry with all of the gear to fix the small things that I can fix quickly on the trail. So I've got a little tool bag with, some wrenches and that kind of stuff, and some screws and lock nuts and wheel nuts and all those kind of things. Stuff that you could fix quickly, right? So I'm not gonna, make any major fixes out here. If I have a major breakage, I'll just pick them up and carry them back. But I think I mentioned that on the one that I just did with Sport. I do have a carabiner and some 550 cord that I carry. You can see the flood. So this is all flooded with that big rain. Pushed all those little piles of leaves and sticks and things up. But yeah, so I do have a method to carry, just strap them to the pack and carry if I need to. I like to get rid of that leaf. There we go. So I could do that. Kind of prefer not to. That's why I have the extra goodies to fix them, like a field expedient kind of a fix I could do out here. But anyway, we're going to try to avoid that. Honey badger, it's been a pretty good guy as far as that goes. Haven't had any issues. I forgot to take the jacket off. Now I'm really sweating. Anyway, there's more turkey droppings. A lot of turkeys here too. Part of the reason we do the trapping out here is to try to protect the turkeys. Raccoons and possums and skunks are all what they call nest raiders, so they'll find turkey nests with eggs in them, and they will eat all of those eggs. And they're pretty hard on the turkey population. And of course, bobcats and coyotes are as well. They'll eat eggs if they can find them too, but they primarily eat the poults, which are baby turkeys. And bobcats are actually pretty proficient at eating full-grown turkeys as well. They stalk them and catch them. You can find like trail cam footage of them actually sneaking up and leaping into the air and taking an adult turkey down as they're trying to fly off. Kind of wild. So bobcats are, I'd say, the apex predator of Missouri for sure. And they eat every day. They are very good hunters, and they take out a lot of game animals, whether that's fawns in the springtime or poults or adult turkeys. So we'd like to hunt the turkeys and the deer, so we try to keep them around, keep their populations in good health, good numbers, so that we can pursue them ourselves. And that's why we try to control some of the population of coyotes and bobcats, and then the nest raiders, like I said, raccoons and possums and other critters. Oh, I was talking about having extra ammo. The reason that I carry this pistol is primarily for armadillos. So armadillos are invasive to Missouri. They're not native, and they really tear up the ground. They root to find grubs and worms in the ground, and they can actually do a lot of damage. So yeah, this has not gone down. I would say this is as deep, every bit as deep as it was when we had sport down here. I think Trail X can handle it just fine. As far as the depth, I don't think that's really an issue. And my boots are plenty high, so that's not an issue either. But that was a pretty cool little creek crossing. So yeah, that was kind of cool. And this is a pretty significant washout here, so this may be a little challenging for the side-by-sides. We may have to come down here and do a little work to fix this up. See those indentions there? That's from deer going up there. No problem for honey badger, of course. But we'll just head up this hill real quick. Take a gander at the food plot. Maybe circle it once. Then head back down, recross the creek, and start making our way up the hill on the other side. See this nice green food plot here. Deer really like this, turkeys too. They are frequently out here eating. Do see some coyotes over here as well, hunting. We've got quite a few rabbits, so the ground is pretty thick from logging over the years. When they cut down those trees that they want for their logs, a lot of times, you know, they'll leave the tops, so that leaves some brushy stuff like that treetop right there. So they'll leave those treetops, which kind of, well, they first of all clear the canopy a little bit, so that allows the sunlight to get down to the canopy floor, which encourages smaller trees and bushes, things like that to grow. And then those treetops kind of add some cover as they're going in, cutting the roads to get to the places where they're going to take the logs. A lot of times they got to cut down cedar trees and, you know, smaller like evergreen type trees that that make really good ground cover once they're cut and laid on the ground. So the logging is really a good thing for the game. You know, those big open floor kind of old growth or high canopy forests where you get a lot of oaks and things, the big tall mature trees, and the canopy gets really thick and they shade out everything on the ground. Those are really pretty to walk through. But if you've got no brush, no, you know, small growth, no bushy, kind of gnarly areas in the woods, when you have a forest like that, like I said, it's beautiful to walk through and easy to walk through, but the animals don't really like it that much. I mean, they'll get into those areas, the deer will at least, for the acorns, right? So if it's a big oak forest like that, deer will absolutely use it as a place to go eat all the acorns that those oak trees produce. But as far as raising families, when it comes to wildlife, raising fawns, raising poults, in the case of turkeys, they can't really do that in those areas because there's not enough cover. So deer and turkeys have to be able to hide from predators. They have to be able to, you know, get away from predators, go through thick, woolly stuff where the predators can't chase them as fast. And so, you know, it's fine to have some of those open, really beautiful to walk through forests, and that's all great. But here we have a little thicker, a little woollier. There's very few places here on this particular piece of ground that are that, you know, beautiful, open oak, you know, kind of high canopy forest, because, well, first of all, it's not the way it goes around here for the most part. But second, you know, that it's kind of been managed and logged such that, you know, we've kind of kept that out. that was pretty cool. Got my pant legs real wet because I was not paying attention to my steps. I was paying attention to the shot. Hope it's a good one. Really hope it's a good one because I've got seriously wet pant legs now, which is not ideal. But, you know, it'll be worth it if it's a good shot. We can do some shorts out of it maybe and be cool for this video, hopefully. So, he's definitely got some wet inserts now. Definitely tested the receiver box and all of the. Let's see if his lights still work. Yeah, they seem to. I'd have to get up there next to him to test his winch. So, yeah, so you guys can see his lights do work. I wonder how much draw, I wonder how much of a battery killer those lights really are. I think that light bar is probably quite a light killer or a battery killer. It gets hot, I know that. It gets very warm in a pretty short amount of time. Let's see, I can't remember. There we go. Couldn't remember which button it was to kill that one. We'll turn it off. See how much just the head and tail lights. I can't imagine they burn too much battery. But like I said, if they do, I have an extra battery right here in the backpack, so it's not an issue. We got another battery to slap in there, and if we've made it this far, we're more than halfway at this point. So if we've made it this far, we will definitely make it back to the side by side with the second battery. So I was talking about armadillos, I think. So armadillos, as I said, are invasive. They tear up the ground. They're not from around here. They really don't belong here. They're here because of the lack of long, cold winters. And, you know, I don't want to get into climate science here or anything like that, but it's undeniable since I was a kid. The winters here in Missouri have gotten shorter. It's a later onset, so December usually is still fairly warm for us. The only cold months we generally see are January and February, and the severity of cold and the duration of that severe cold is less frequent and less lengthy, both. So, and anybody who's lived here their whole life would be lying if they said that wasn't the case. That's absolutely the case. So, what to attribute that to, I can't tell you. I don't know what that should be attributed to. But it's definitely true that, ooh, there's turkey. Big turkey tracks. But oh my gosh, look at all the turkey tracks. This whole, so we had a big group of turkeys walk up through here very recently, I would say. But anyway, it's definitely not as cold for not as long. And that's allowing the armadillos to proliferate. They go underground when it gets really cold, and they don't come out of their holes. And when that duration of super cold temperature where they would stay in the ground isn't long enough to basically starve them out, I guess, then they continue to proliferate. So that's what we're seeing here in Missouri. There is no, they are not really even discussed by the Missouri Department of Conservation, so there is no hunting season or anything like that for them. I don't think there is anywhere, even where they are native, because they're just considered pests or varmints, depending on what your state, the terminology of your area or your region. So they're varmints, and there's no rules about killing them. So I kill them on sight each and every chance that I get. It's pretty cold out here today, so we probably won't see one. If the camera drops and I take off running and you hear some gunshots, it's probably what happened. But anyway, yeah, so they are destructive little boogers, and I don't care for them, and we get rid of them when we see them. So. And I've talked about hunting and trapping and, shooting armadillos and all those things. Everything that I do is 100% completely legal. It's 100%, above board as far as, oh my goodness, that's the deepest we've seen so far. That was over the hood, baby. But everything that I do is legal, and, I follow all the rules of the Missouri Department of Conservation, all the game laws, all the firearms laws, all the laws. I've always been a bit of a rule follower, so you can rest assured that anything I'm showing here or discussing here is all well within the legal limits. And I guess, speaking of that, in the hunting arena, I don't know how many of you are hunters, probably not many, but I'm sure there are some. There's a lot of debate I see social media on, should you kill a fawn? Should you kill a doe with a fawn? And you get guys on there that say, well, I would never kill a doe with a fawn, or I would never kill a fawn, whatever, which is fine. If that's your own personal credo, then, God bless. But in my opinion, if someone posts a picture of a deer that they shot, or a coyote that they caught, or what have you, right? My response is always, great job, as long as it's legal, right? So the guy who's out there shooting a doe that has a fawn, he didn't write the rules that said that was perfectly legal to do, right? So, in my opinion, if it's legal to do and someone does it, congratulations to them. And if you don't like it, tough shit. If you don't like it, go to your Department of Conservation or whatever they call it in your state and petition to have that rule changed. Petition to have the rule set that it is illegal to shoot a doe that has a fawn. And then, good luck enforcing it, right? It's a silly, that would be a very silly rule to try to put into place. Now, if you want to place that rule upon yourself, I'm fine with that. But if what another hunter or trapper or outdoorsman does is legal, in my opinion, shut the hell up. Nobody cares. Nobody really cares what you think. I don't know. That just always annoyed me. You know, people will post a picture of a buck and everybody will jump in and go, oh, you know, he's too small. You should have given him another year. Oh, you know, to me, if it's legal and it's a trophy to you, have at it. I don't understand what the people who jump all over other hunters for, you know, doing things that are perfectly legal but somehow don't meet with their personal standards of what a big buck is or what an ethical sportsman is, or, you know, like what do you get out of that? What is the, what, I just don't understand. Like, you know, is there somebody patting you on the back? You know, is there money for these people? Do they show their Facebook posts to some, you know, shadowy figure that gives them $5 every time they say something stupid online? I don't know. I don't know what it is, but some people are highly motivated to go and talk a ton of shit on, you know, other sportsmen who have not violated any laws in any way. And that always just kind of, I don't know, it's a little perplexing to me what would motivate somebody to do that. But so I guess in closing, if you are one of those guys, if you recognize yourself in what I just described, you can stop watching. Seriously. You know, that's the way I feel about it. But anyway, I'll get off my little soapbox now, I guess. This burned, I don't know, 6 months ago now, maybe? And I mean, just look how green it is. This is not a food plot. This is just burn it accidentally. Well, some of it was on purpose, and then it kind of got out of hand. So accidentally on purpose. But this burned, and this ground is extremely rocky, full of clay. It's not farmable. It's not farm ground by any stretch. It is, you know, I mean, you can see all the rocks, right? They're everywhere. If you tried to plow it, you would absolutely drive yourself crazy, just turning over rocks and picking them up and carrying them to the edge of the field and then doing it all again. But if you burn this ground, man, that grass comes back thick, comes back green, and the deer and the turkeys seem to be loving it. So, again, accidentally on purpose, we're trying to burn these big push piles. So there's big push piles all down these terraces where we did the food plot. So this is a food plot. So you saw back there what was not a food plot, right? Just burned ground, basically. And this is a food plot here, right? So it looks pretty similar. We got a lot of the advantages of a food plot just by burning off all of the underbrush, kind of, right? So seems to have worked out reasonably well, even though I was a little concerned this deer season because it was pretty recent at the time, and I thought that deer might avoid this area being recently burned, but they didn't. They actually kind of loved it even then. So I guess the moral of the story is, if you burn some brush piles and they get out of hand, probably don't panic, even if you're really close to deer season, because it's probably going to be fine. I shot the biggest buck that I've shot off this place this year, so it all worked out. We're going to stop and check the Scaletra real quick. Yeah, we're at 1.81 and we need 1.86, I believe. So we should definitely have our mileage requirement. Still on the same battery, we're at 11 volts. As you can see on the old back window there, showing the well, I'm blanking on the term. It's a voltmeter. It's a voltmeter. So now we're at 10.9. So it's just steadily been ticking down from 12.5 as we've been going. It's a 3S LiPo. So we can get rid of that leaf. So 3 kilometers evidently is 1.86 miles. And we're probably there already. Getting real close, if not already there. So no shed antlers today, but we didn't get off the trail too much, so they're out there, that is for sure, because all of my trail camera photos now are of slick-headed deer. So they lost them, now it's up to us to find them, I guess, right? Might break off to the right up here in just a minute. I need to recon a little bit of the path that I'm talking about for this trail that we're going to cut. We might have to come in as low as here, but I'd rather come in up the hill a bit here. Oh yeah, he's definitely running out of juice. Definitely slowing way down. Yeah. I'd like to cut in here somewhere. Kind of head off that direction. But we'll see where exactly we end up cutting that path in. Now, after pinning the trigger, I'm kind of just trying to get him back to the side-by-side on this one battery pack so that we don't have to swap them out for this challenge. I think we'll probably make it. There's always a chance that he won't. I think at this point he's made the challenge. Either way. So then it becomes a question of, do you take the time to swap out the battery or do you just grab him and carry him? But fingers crossed. We'll try to take the smoothest path and we'll try to use the steering as little as possible and just kind of limping back. Just get him back to the starting point here. Thanks for joining me. Hope I didn't get too controversial there about the hunting stuff. But again, I genuinely mean it. If you are a person who likes to get online and, you know, talk down to other hunters about things that they did that were perfectly legal, you know, you can unsubscribe, and you know, best of luck to you. But I'd rather you not be a channel participant, to be honest. So, but for those of you who are still around after that comment, which we probably lost some, which is fine. That's just fine. If you're still around and you're still enjoying what we're doing, I appreciate it. I appreciate you. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for going on this trail run with me. Check out the 24 scale tire test. Check out the 24 YEP spec build. I'm going to have a Vanquish Phoenix portal build coming up. And yeah, check out everything that we're doing. And thanks for coming along with us today. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. And we'll see you real soon. Thanks.